they've had plenty of opportunities to watch VODs and see how they could adapt into the playstyle of Cloud9. And to no surprise here, you still see Mitch going with the Killjoy into this map, something that we expected that was going to happen. sSef is actually playing on the Killjoy as well, and this is nothing new for them either. SSG will have sSef also playing on a map like Haven as Killjoy because they have set mollies. So this could be good. You have a breach on both ends, so you are removing that Sova and switching it to the breach, which allows a lot of these explosive playstyles from both of these teams. And with SSG starting off on the defender side because it's not their map pick, they want to be comfortable here on the amount of scores they could take on the defender side.
The history of Breach is an interesting and tumultuous one. We'll get into that in just a minute as Boostio is on site from inside Hell. The ropes position doesn't work out so well for Boostio as the nade tried to flush him out, but ends up getting spotted, leaping away from it with a knife out, and then just caught in no man's land. Now, Mitch has picked off one with the Frenzy, does get spotted out by the alarm bot, so currently sitting vulnerable. You do have pickoffs coming in by way of Kaplan, who's got the Frenzy. There's the peek from Vice. Mitch is there with the backup as well, and a flying shot coming in at the end there from Vice to cap things off. A good round win for Cloud9, starting on the attack to kick things off in the second half. But one of the things I wanted to get into was the interesting history of Breach in NA's competitive pool. For the first, I'd say 10 days to 2 weeks of beta competitive play. I know that's really early on, but it felt like every day lasted an eternity. There were so many tournaments like packed into that short window.
Oh yeah.
Breach was almost seen as non-viable. In fact, you could ask players who currently play Breach, they might have said that Breach didn't make sense. Then it went from Breach isn't viable to Breach is the most viable and should be involved in every composition. And then Breach disappeared again. Breach was one of the first agents, I think, to like fall out of favor. And there wasn't really any reason why. It's just teams figured out how to, I guess, counterplay Breach. And that all changed. It felt like overnight Breach just disappeared. And now he's back.
Yeah, and that's all thanks to a third flash too, because aside from that, not much has changed for Breach. Well, I guess with the new patch now, you have the update that happened with the Rolling Thunder, so you can stand pretty much in front of the Breach, except with the Rolling Thunder, then run through. But that said, though, with an eco that you have for SSG, you had a great off-angle, close-range aggressive from Kaplan to get the first kill, and as they try to take control towards the A side, it was fully denied. So they rotate back towards the B side. They have a smoke for spawn side, but you still have two players very close. They couldn't catch him off the rotation. So now Spacestation Gaming are forced to play the retake, and they're all going to come in from spawn. I'm assuming there's probably a paranoia available, so no, it's only going to be smokes. So smoke's going to come in from Insky, and then they're going to triple peek. But Vice loses his teammate, gets a second kill, tries to go for the third, but Boostio answers back with a headshot from the Sheriff, comes in for the defuse, a little bit of BMs with the shots, but that's going to be a great eco for SSG.
And that's a big round coming in. As they spend a little bit of money to put a bit of extra firepower into it. And Cloud9 just wasn't ready. Now, when Space Station played last, they played against FaZe, and they lost 8-4 in the first half on the defense. So, definitely need to see some improvements here facing off against Cloud9, who is certainly competent on the map. Cloud9, they got a spike plan out of that last round, so their money's bad, but it's not terrible. As a result, they have this kind of weird ham-fisted buy coming through. So there's some SMGs, there's a rifle or two, a shotgun even in the mix. But when you look at the buy on the other side, it's also not stellar. You see a Sheriff in play, so there's certainly opportunity here. There's the paranoia and the flash to lead them in. A bit of vulnerability applied as the alarm bot will spot out TenZ, but those flashes push them back. And with that position, TenZ doesn't have to do much, just clicks into the belly of Boostio, and it's almost a freebie kill.
Yeah, it was down to 10 HP though, so this could still be very doable for SSG to hold things up. But Skyler, Relyks says no, he has different plans, and he opens it up towards that site. He gets quickly traded out, up from the heavens. Insky though gets traded out, as now it's on a 2 versus 1. Only Vice on his own. Spike has not been planted, and it's dropped in a position that's unreachable, unattainable for Vice. So he has to win this 1 versus 1 versus Roca. And as he crosses over, there's going to be the second player. Spots him, perfect angle. Kaplan the fall. And he's not even going for that spike. The barrel sticks out. He's in a great position now for the upper hand. Goes for the spray, the dink, the re-peek from Roca, and he wins it with the wallbang himself. And it's going to be 2-1 now for SSG.
Danny with a little bit of BM there at the end. I
kind of wish he was using the Oni skin for the Phantom that he always likes to use, because when the mask pops up, he likes to wear it. But he's gonna have to use something differently now with that skin.
I mean, the way that roca played that, some might look at that and go, "What are you doing?" Like he's been spotted and he gets shot through the wall, and he's sticking in that position instead of backing off. He goes for that swing, knowing that his opponent has dumped 10 bullets straight out of the mag, so the recoil is starting to become a problem.
Correct.
So either they're going to have to heavily compensate or stop firing and go for a reset. So he peeks out knowing that that's likely the case, and sure enough, catches him off guard. Yeah. Works out well. It was well read by roca, who ends up winning the 1v1. Space Station, they lost the pistol round. They returned fire with a sort of eco. I don't want to say it was a forced buy. They spent a little bit of money, but it wasn't a full. It wasn't a full expend. But that last round was a full force coming in from Cloud9. They spent every penny they had to try to keep themselves in things. And here they've got some sheriffs in the mix as well. But SSG taking control of the scoreboard, not allowing Cloud9 to build up anything on this attacking side beyond the pistol thus far.
Yeah. And I think it was fine for Cloud9 to go for a force buy too, because they did put the economy very low for SSG before. So technically, they saw that they were at even situation with the guns that they could have had, especially like we said, expect something very explosive from off the back of Breach, and you see that the flashpoint to come out and then tends to dash into the heaven side. But what really denies that type of aggression is really the utility of the Raze, and Boostio used that perfectly. The boom bot as well as the paint shells prevented TenZ from actually getting more than a kill because it was down to 10 HP. But with this round though, a very slow round for Cloud9. Last second push inside the A side with the economy that they have, with the money that they have. The only thing that they could show for is a kill versus Spacestation Gaming with one only falling. But SSG holds the ground very well on the passive play on the A side, and it's going to be 2 unanswered rounds, make that 3 unanswered rounds for the defender side.
The way that push came through, they needed more support and assistance from TenZ, who was up in heaven.
Yes.
TenZ had that heaven control, and the other players coming through from ramp, they tried to get on his site, but there was a player there. That's when they needed TenZ to try to get out there and make some room for them. But at that point, there wasn't much time left on the clock. There's about 14 seconds left. So when they turned back, the round was already pretty much lost at that point. They didn't have enough time to really take those battles and try and get site control. Yet again, we'll see a similar setup. There's double flashpoint coming through from Breach, and also Paranoia lead in. I really like the way that Cloud9 is forcing back SSG and not allowing them to play heaven. Even the dark cover, whether intentional or not, will keep them from having to deal with the turret. So it's really well played from Cloud9, and it's allowing TenZ to get into an incredibly advanced position. Now, shinobi has popped his ult and has snuck onto the site. There's dark cover coming out from him. TenZ will get picked off, and a bold move from insky that stops the spike from crossing into the site and brings things down to now just 1. Vice will at least get a spike plant out of this, even though it is in a ballsy position, completely in the open. But at that point, there's just too many directions to look.
Look, they're all full on ultimates too for Spacestation Gaming. And just to chime in of what you were saying before, Bach, the way that Cloud9 is playing doesn't allow SSG to play towards the B heaven side. But not only that, they don't allow them to play towards ropes too. So they have a lot of opportunities to go for these splits eventually towards A or B. They kind of did it before when they had the Sheriffs on that previous round, or 2 rounds ago, and they almost got into the site, but it was held from anchored players. But if they have the weaponry, if they had the Vandals or Phantoms to work with, then maybe we might see a different story. Because if you're looking at how they're playing the defense for Spacestation Gaming, the alarm bot is not, it's not placed towards a rope side where usually you see that commonly placed there, or a trapwire. They're actually using the alarm bot to try to literally sound the alarm if anybody's trying to come up towards this B heaven side. And they have the opportunity of Kaplan right now. There you go. The alarm bot's going to come off. It's going to hit him. That allows for the rolling thunder, but nobody's going to push out of that. They're just going to slow down the clock. And now it's going to be roca that's going to try to get an opening instead.
Oh! Ooh, you hate to see that. Even with Empress, roca falls to a stinger of all things. Insky's in position, but the Nano Swarm is brutal. This is a great adjustment from Cloud9. They took control of mid. We saw them try to go up into B heaven, but they caught an audible, and they turned things back around now. sSef takes significant damage battling Vice, but does win in the one-on-one. Boombot around the corner, that's, yeah, not much you can do about that. Boostio goes for the peek, and he just swallows a rocket, gobbles it up. And it's down to now just 2 for Space Station. Kaplan has Breach, and sSef has the heavily tagged up Killjoy. That is a solid round win, and it all starts and ends with Relyks. He is the bookend for the round. He finds that opening coming through from ropes, and he finds the final kill as well, and it's a 4K on the round.
Yeah.
For Raze for C9.
I really wonder if there was miscommunication there on Spacestation Gaming for that Rolling Thunder on that mid side, because I do see the idea of the Rolling Thunder and then the Empress being popped so that the fire rate coming out from Roca and allowing him to get these individual plays on maybe 3 players that are stunned towards mid side, they could still have something positive that comes out of that combo pretty much. But you saw it from the point of view of Roca. When he had the Empress, he was still on ropes on the A Heaven side. So I think he was caught out of position all because of the dash that came in from TenZ on B Heaven, which now a fire rate that you have from an Empress versus a Stinger, the Stinger wins. But they have an answer of their own into this round. They decide to aggress back towards mid. Boostio gets the first kill, and then even 2 more is chimed in from Roca. So they don't allow C9 to really run away with anything off that thrifty that they had on that previous round. And you only have Relyks, and he's already in a position where, you know, he might want to save into the last. I mean, he's got a minute, so he could really try to turn things around and maybe try to get any picks if anybody's going to try to push aggressively for SSG. But they know that the spike is down towards Ramen's side, and they still don't want to commit to anything too aggressive for SSG. They just want to take the round in the end.
Right now, it's just a time to just kind of relax.
I have the spike.
Yep.
Catch your breath. Spike's been picked up by
30
Relyks.
seconds
30
left.
seconds left on the round. Again, not exactly a winnable scenario at all. Relyks getting chipped down to 20 HP after going for a peek into mid. And now there's even more firepower just waiting for him right around the corner. So Relyks might be better off just hunkering down and saving the weapon, and that's exactly what's going to happen
10 seconds
now.
left.
I would expect them to get a little bit more antsy. You can see Insky's already pushed up pretty far and likely will go for a peek in this area. Relyks being solo on HP has to be pixel perfect with the shot, and he's going to get spotted here. Yeah. He could see him before he went for the peek. He knew exactly what was waiting for him around the corner. So, a 5th round on the board for Space Station. I don't want to say that, you know, Cloud9's already out of it, but this is one of the more promising defensive sides we've seen for Space Station against a team of this caliber. On split, I should say that, on split.
And you saw the debate of what Relyks was trying to do too, is like with this new money system, like if he actually saved and the rounds went into the next, he was only going to get 1,000 credits too. But now it's like, okay, was that going to be enough for me to drop a weapon for my teammate? He definitely wanted to stay alive in the end because you saw the amount of money that he had after the bonus. He definitely was going to be able to save a drop a weapon for his teammate and maybe even at least go for a small shield. But into this round, we're starting to see TenZ trying to wake up here, and it's going to be on the A side. It's all caught off camera, but it's him pushing down towards the A, getting a couple of kills, but they have lost a player in the process. So they have lost Mitch, but they do have mid control. But a big flank from Boostio somehow made it behind that Ramen, gets the first kill, so now they're just going to try to book it towards the A side. But sSef is waiting. That's a molly. A second nanoswarm onto the ground. A wide swing coming through. Shinobi is dancing into the molly, down to 83 HP, and that forces the hand back towards the B side because you also have TenZ that pushed up towards heaven. He catches the first kill. The ult is wasted towards the A side on top of that. So sSef and now also Kaplan will have to try to retake on a 2 versus 2. Thankfully, though, Relyks is low HP.
Right there.
2-on-2, a promising scenario for Cloud9. Like you said, though, Relyks low on health. In a good spot, though, up on the balcony.
One
That
enemy
flash,
remaining.
just so powerful. Kaplan in the one-on-one, has to guess right. Spray gets away from him, but at the same point in time, Kaplan didn't take any damage. Still at full armor and HP. I thought for sure bullets were connecting, but no. I think a bit of just antsiness coming in from his opponent results in the success for Space Station. So an unfortunate turn towards the end as Space Station yet again finds the round win. Cloud9 not able to survive, but it really started with that strong flash that just completely neutralized Relyks.
I also love the fact that there wasn't like a cross your fingers, spray and pray that came from kaplan. Yes, maybe from the first few shots, but then it was like, okay, let's try to reset. He stops shooting, and then boom, it's a one tap to try to win that 1 versus 1 in the end. And also, like you said, not a single point of damage has been done. So the economy should be looking very good here for Spacestation Gaming. And they're in this crossfire, you see that they don't really want to take an early garage control. They're going to play off this nanoswarm, off contact, and really try to bait out sSef first. And then you're going to have the kills come in from Boostio. But you have a dash that came through, the satchel charges on top, and that is how you win the round in the end for Cloud9. 2 big entries. And now it's going to be an open site. I think at this point you're saving for a Spacestation Gaming.
Spike planted.
You play so close and you dash through. I mean, that was nice.
Space Station not looking so hot here after a nice string of rounds. Cloud9 found an opening and took advantage of it.
Flawless.
And flawless round win. Limited damage even being dealt by Space Station. Now, again, it's really important to point out, I know a lot of people will go, oh, wow, the analyst caster said this should be, you know, a map that Cloud9 takes. It's still the attacking side on split. So we can't necessarily count either side's performance as sold. Like, I'm a believer now. You know, Cloud9 finding 3 rounds, it's not the greatest start. But look at the fact that they've been getting at least some site control. Round 2, they get the spike down. Sure, they lost a round they probably shouldn't have because it was an eco round coming in from Space Station. But they've gotten multiple spike plants where they just weren't able to survive in that 1vx, 2vx scenario, the post-plant situations, the late round scenarios. So Cloud9 is not like that far away from losing these rounds. It's not like it's an incredible blowout. Now TenZ gets lost inside his own smoke as he tries to get onto the site, and now taking a ton of damage. That's not exactly how you want your Jett to open things up. Mitch will go in next, and oh, that's awkward. The Rolling Thunder sends the breach flying. Relyks is there to save the day as Insky goes down, but that's what could end up being pivotal. Lockdown has been popped. No cross coming in yet as they don't feel comfortable. They want to wait until this point. That's the apex point. Oh, I love that. That's a ballsy play from kaplan. Now, that kind of eliminates kaplan for a bit, but trying to delay that spike plant even longer, maybe even catch someone off guard going for a deady plant, didn't really work out that way, but I appreciate the attempt.
Yeah, because he doesn't die from it either, right? So they didn't really force the hand and try to push back against a person that got caught by the lockdown. So that allowed for them to just regroup, but the showstopper is going to be big. That's going to scare them right now. Relyks has to commit inside the site. He's going to randomly shoot it at the spawn. Shouldn't connect. But see, you waited towards the end. You're wasting a lot of time on your end now on a post-plant situation, so you're going to see SSG on a save.
Yeah.
This is well done. You don't need a kill. You just need the round.
Yep, like you said, they took a little bit too much time and they're able to escape. All 3 players survive, 2 surviving on the other side at the same time. So weapons will be brought in, but you can see just how fragile this can be. You know, look at the money for Space Station. It's not like they've got this crazy stockpile of cash. They're not Scrooge McDuck rolling around in a pool filled with gold coins. At this point, they've got 2 players on pistols, and the money on the other side has actually started to balloon a bit. You know, 2 round wins is all it seemed to have taken because they've had Space Station in close scenarios. You know, going back to that 1v1 between Shinobi and Breach.
Yeah, kaplan,
You look back at that and you're like, okay, you know, those rounds, they were really, really close. And that's why Space Stations found themselves in this scenario. Now, they did it once with pistols, but they only had to fight against SMGs that time. We'll see if they can do it here against rifles.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the rifles that they have, though, for SSG. They only have a share for Boostio. I'm sure you're able to drop a weapon. I think one of them still had about $3,700, or credits, rather, able to drop one of his teammates. And they're trying to take that garage control early. And Shinobi goes for a paranoia for them to regain control of the garage. You think it's going to be an eventual split into B, but it's still too early. There's still a minute on the clock to work with, and they could still find good avenues to force the rotation, as you still have to lurk. all the way across the map from Relyks. So if Relyks tries to lurk inside the A side and can get a kill, you see them rotating back at that side. Especially if with the shinobi from the shadows, you're keeping them on a stack towards this B side. But look at that. For SSG instead, they're pushing out a garage. They know the eventual attack is happening towards A. So a big anchor play has to happen from sSef at A side.
30 seconds left.
sSef has popped off at times as well, so sSef going to be tasked with this challenge. Able to pick off the first one as Relyks goes for the cross, but has to surrender at that point. I'll give them sight control as the dark cover makes it too difficult for much impact for their Killjoy. sSef, here's that shadow step, has no idea where Omen moved to. Insky now coming to the bottom of ropes as well. This is certainly a winnable scenario. It has to start here, and unfortunately, as that happens, another kill came through as well onto Boostio, so the numbers have shifted heavily in favor of Cloud9. SFG now down to just one, and it's the player who tried to kick things off on the defense, and then they know that sSef is stuck in screen. Spam already coming through dark cover. Not much can be done for sSef. It was a solid play from Cloud9 getting onto that site, but there was a lot of pressure on Insky coming up from ropes. If Insky finds that opener, gets the timing right onto TenZ, it drastically shifts the way that retake comes together.
100%.
Unfortunately, it doesn't happen and it all just falls apart.
It was a double one too, because Boostio during that time, like we mentioned, when he was pushing out towards that garage side, he was on a big flank. He went all the way down towards spawn. So as sSef was holding through in that dark cover at the screens, the bigger plays were definitely, as you said, Bach, from the rope side, but also the flank from A ramp. And Boostio also lost that fight in that area, making the last two players on A side at screens in A heaven pretty much useless on a 4 versus 2 retake. And with that, though, we talked about the economy too. It should be very low for SSG right now, so they have a great opportunity for a 6-6. But with the Blade Storm, TenZ comes through and catches Insky on a reload. roca stuck with the Guardian, but Yui's seen him with the Sheriff before, so this is just an overpowered Sheriff for him, and he could definitely get things done here for SSG if they could actually get out towards his heaven side. But they're doing a good job with the smokes to prevent him from pushing out. Look at these cloud bursts that are happening at the same time too, but this is a big ultimate now from sSef, and they're all getting denied.
That flash got a little sketchy. I'm pretty sure TenZ got flashed as they went through, but it doesn't matter. Again, we were saying it, right?
Yep.
Even though at one point it was 6-2, there's that turning point that occurs, and Cloud9 just finds 1 or 2 round wins, and it breaks the money for Spacestation, and it makes things so much harder for them.
Yeah.
Early on, they were putting a ton of pressure towards Heaven, so Cloud9 consistently tried to attack B Heaven by going for a double flashpoint paranoia peek. Both flashes coming from mid. TenZ would be the tip of the spear to lead them in. And it wasn't working. So then they called an audible one round after trying to do that very thing, and they went through A Heaven instead. And after that, they seem to have found somewhat of a niche. They found out that the A site was a little bit easier for them to take, and they started to exploit that a bit. And that's how Cloud9 was able to get themselves back into the game. The truth is, yeah, it was looking good for Spacestation, and it very well could have spiraled out of control if it weren't for Cloud9 making that mid-half adjustment. But now that we switch things over, we'll see if SSG has what it takes to pick up a couple of rounds here on the attacking side. This is an awkward battle. It's the turret was the first one to spot them. Swarm grenade goes out. The nano swarm won't do what it needs to do. An alarm bot will go in as well. sSef wanted to pick up that ult point, but unfortunately unable to do so. Great damage being dealt on both sides, but it's certainly favoring Cloud9 right now as you have 2 players on SSG that are sub 20.
You do have a lurk out from roca though, so that turret is going to give his position away. That cancels out the lurk. They don't know that there's a second player there too. But with the great hold that you had from Cloud9 to start things off, even dark cover to really cover up the turret to not spot any other players trying to cross back into a better position. SSG with the 2 players that are super low, they want to test the waters now towards the A side, mid side. But that said, though, it's going to be a very late lurk from one of the players. It looks to be sSef from the market side, but the rest has to be a huge execution from the A side, and it will start off with roca, starting with the leer.
30 seconds left.
roca leers through and moves into the ropes as the nades come through, so has to dodge the damage from the paint shells. Great movement from Relyks off the blast pack to fly into the face of roca. In the meantime, the site was lost, but roca could have been a big piece of the defense. It's going to put pressure on some of these players who are so low on HP. You've got Boostio, who's on 2 health. You've also got a Killjoy, who's heavily tagged up. They're looking for players back behind the play, but they have to first deal with this
Wow.
one. Over in hell, and somehow these are starting to come together.
One enemy
Frenzies.
remaining.
Just a little bit stronger than it once was. Mitch taps the spike. It's down to the one-on-one. The fault line comes through, but there's the swing wide.
Don't interrupt my
And it's
work.
Mitch, who's found now 3 kills on the round as Killjoy. We talked about Mitch coming into this
I had
map.
to focus
Would
for a
Mitch's
second.
performance drastically change from map 1 to map 2? And you can certainly see the numbers improving. 10 and
Oh, yeah.
6 in the second position behind TenZ. Again, the map just works so much better for Killjoy as an agent.
But somehow to still make it a 1 versus 1 for SSG, you got to give it
Yeah.
to them. We talked about it at the beginning of the round, Bach. You had 2 players that were like sub 15 HP each. And somehow it still turns into a 1 versus 1 off the backs of 2 players with frenzies, able to get like just multiple kills. A lot of them happen off camera because the execution and the retake just happens simultaneously from all angles. You saw that Vice and another of his teammates double push down towards the spawn side to check sewers to see if anybody was playing there on the flank. And then they all come in from A ramp and also the screen side to see all these kills happen all at once. So as a unit, Cloud9 Blue did a great job on a retake, leaving it on a 1 versus 1 where it's not planted for the person in a pulse plant position on the attacker side. Very hard for Kaplan to play. Better play from Mitch to go for the off angle, actually, instead of playing the tight angle for the person peeking out from elbow, for example. So really not giving him a chance to readjust on that 1 versus 1. Allow Cloud9 Blue to get this round, and going through the smoke, TenZ surprising sSef, and even sSef looked surprised himself. And TenZ wins that fight. Second one, backstab onto Kaplan. And man, this is just a nice double play from shinobi and TenZ at B main.
Good shooting, at least from Insky, to do some damage. And maybe gets one more. Yeah, that'll be another one. TenZ a little overzealous. Looking to pad the stats. Not that his stats ever really need padding.
30
to be
seconds left.
completely
True.
honest. Insky, though, the last one standing, has to dodge the paint shells. Relyks is right on the money with the Raze play here on Split. 8 rounds now for Cloud9 as we find ourselves in the first full buy round for both teams, and we'll see what it's going to look like, as it's kind of odd. You've got the Bulldog, you've got a couple of SMGs in the mix, whereas on the other side, you've got light armor for 3, but Vandals in their hands.
That's it. You want to keep whatever you got onto the previous round. So that was a 2 Spectres and a Bulldog. So it's sort of a half bonus, you could put it that way, for Cloud9 Blue. Losing this round here might put them in a position where they could buy, but with small shields as well. So still a very difficult round for Cloud9 Blue. They're not out of it yet. SSG on their end, they're not out of it either. They lose a round there, they're going to be on a broken economy, and Cloud9 Blue on the defender side so far has been showing some great results on passive plays as much as offensive plays from TenZ. So you could see the level of comfort. We talked about the pressure at the beginning of the round. Will they feel pressured? Will they have to turtle up? Will they cower a bit? No, they're not feeling any type of pressure at all. They're playing their own game, and it's working out.
Relyks with the peek, and somehow the SMG spam just keeps on giving. Relyks now going to get a little aggressive as well. Likely wants to upgrade. There's the fly-in, and Boostio gets picked off out of midair by Mitch. How quickly things have turned into a 5-on-2. There were 2 remaining members wondering, what do we do in this scenario? And it's possible they just try to turtle up and save. It's a long time to save. Luckily, attacker spawn is pretty far away. It's tucked into a nice little corner there.
Left.
It's not exactly easy to get into if you hold these long lines of sight. It's certainly possible to try to defend yourself, but 9 rounds going on the board for Cloud9. Again, we were saying it, this game is never over, so there's certainly possibilities. We couldn't say, oh, it was, necessarily, we couldn't say it could be a Cloud9 comeback in the first half without saying it could also be a SSG comeback here in the second half. There's certainly opportunity and possibility, but that window of opportunity is going to close quicker and quicker as this half continues to slide through these later rounds.
Yeah. And you could even see from the health bar from these players on Cloud9, I think the max maybe that could have happened for Relyks is that he lost a little bit of armor, but you could see he's still at 6K, so I don't think he even ate any damage on that 2 versus 1. So he gets 2 kills, adds a showstopper that's ready for him. He upgrades into a free Vandal. And you're going to see SSG on these broken buy because they only have 2 weapons that they saved on that previous round. That means they only get 1,000 credits going into this round as well, which means it's going to be very low for them to move as a unit and try to get the economy right in the second half. And already trailing behind by 3, it's going to be very difficult to do. You're going to have to try to rely on something here, and they don't have any ultimates to work with, so they're just going to go straight up here on the top. It's going to be Boostio, sabotage with a frenzy to get a kill, but they lost 2 players in the process. They just want to get into the site at least to get the spike plant.
Spike planted.
All right. A promising take from Space Station. They've managed to scrape this one together, and they've snuck a spike plant into the mix.
Charges.
Shinobi looking to clear out corners, and yeah, that's well played.
Yeah.
Good utilization of that breach charge. Now, Boostio's in heaven. Started off with the frenzy, now upgrades to the Vandal. The spike not at all planted for him, and the flashes make this impossible. The spike's going to be defused in here in a second. At least it's an expensive round. Like, I'll give them that. Yep. Space Station, they make it cost a lot of money. I don't think that Shinobi really has grounds there for the double dunk at the end, just because they didn't come into that with a ton of force. So I think if you're Space Station, you're thrilled with the result. You would have obviously loved to pick up the round win, but we're seeing that same sort of trajectory from the first half, right? We're seeing a lot of site control for Space Station. They're getting the spike down. It's just a matter of time before they actually find the success they're looking for. So this could be that round, the round where a lot of extra force comes in with the purchase.
I dropped the spike.
Into this round now, SSG with at least a spike plant allows to build up the economy into this one. As we said, it's been a little bit weird in terms of how they managed that on that first half, just how these rounds have been panning out here for the attacker side.
Blinding.
But this is such a passive play for Cloud9 right now. They even walk up towards mid, and it's still open for business. Nonetheless, though, you still see the first operator to come in hand on this match, on this map even. But it's trading off here from a showstopper from Boostio, so that's Relyks to fall. Ultimate to be locked down, put at the screens, courtesy of Mitch, but they still make it inside the A side to go for a plant. Vice on a huge rotation right now, and a big paranoia allows Shinobi to get the kill onto sSef. Spike is now planted on a 3 versus 3. Aftershock at the same corner, but it's going to be TenZ that's able to dodge that for a bit. Lear to come out. One is looking down towards the elbow, and that is going to be Shinobi. First contact versus roca. A second one versus Boostio, who wins it. He's trying to go for the flick. That's picking a TenZ, but it's on a 1 versus 1. Spike is now planted behind the map. They're looking for the off angle, and insky is going to win that one with a headshot onto Vice. And it's going to be 10-7 with SSG scrapping that round in their favor.
Yeah, I really want to see the scoreboard here so I can appreciate what the money looks like. It's still pretty healthy for Cloud9. So you're still going to have a lot of oomph in with the buy. You've got the operator in the hands of Mitch, not in the hands of TenZ. So Mitch is going to be carrying the op here, rifles for the rest. So even though SSG wins the round, it doesn't leave them in a pretty spot because of how they had to win it. That said, just chiseling away at that lead and chiseling away at the buildup of cash. It does look like we're going to see some aggression potentially towards B main. You can see 2 players currently pushed in. That's Shinobi and TenZ, who have now scooped up control of B main, making it harder and harder for SSG to try to work the map. And wisely, sSef picks up the spike after realizing, okay, if they're pushed into this territory, I don't want to leave it just hanging out for them to spot. That said, when you see an aggressive play like that, you have to appreciate that there's a weakness somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
If 2 players are pushing in, or even 1 player is pushing in, there's a hole somewhere. And that's exactly what Space Station's going to look for. And it looks like currently that hole was in mid. It's a nice shot from Mitch to at least give his team the player advantage. But a bulk of the bodies are built up in mid right now, and another one's just been stacked onto the funeral pyre.
Yeah.
As SSG loses yet another player, and it doesn't really look like they've done too much damage either to Cloud9, just a little bit to Mitch.
But see, that's kind of like the mirage for Spacestation Gaming. You think that Cloud9 has given you map control, but you have Mitch in a great angle at A ramp with the operator. You also have TenZ that does the same play as Shinobi. The flash towards B main, TenZ moving forward, they have garage control. So they're okay to give that heaven away in control of SSG, and they could just hold it more passively inside the site. But now Boostio makes his way inside the site, but that audible cue from his legs
10
breaking
seconds
on the
left.
landing kind of takes him away out of the equation, and you're stuck in a 5 versus 1, only a Vandal. Another situation when you're forced to save, unfortunately for Kaplan. Maybe he's even going to try to die before, just to try to add more bonus, because like I said, the economy is wonky right now for SSG.
He took 46 damage from that fall. Like, that is crazy to me that he took that much damage trying to explode onto the site. You can't necessarily say that, you know, he would have survived with full health, but I'd like to think that the extra health might have helped a little bit. Regardless, because of where their money was at in that last round, when they fielded a buy, there's nothing left. So they're just going to have pistols here. They do have one rifle in, but it's 11-7. Cloud9 just one round away from guaranteeing at least overtime. But we did think that this would be Cloud9's map to take. We almost all predicted a 3-map series. Great move from Boostio this time around to use that blast pack to fly up into heaven. That's a weapon pickup as well. Can Boostio do something with it? Mitch is stuck in backside. Missed shots coming out from the off, but he survives a little while longer. And there's Kaplan with the flying classic around the corner. Great quick peek coming in from TenZ, who just doesn't want to wait. Both players blind. Who will see first? It comes down to TenZ. And now it's Boostio, the last player standing. 12 rounds go on the board. It was a promising push from Space Station, but TenZ just had no patience whatsoever.
Exactly.
And it worked.
And it's not necessarily the patience, just the confidence that he has running into the
Match
site.
point.
The amount of players that are caught off guard. Just from the first shot that was missed by Mitch, maybe the audible cue to say, hey, there's 2 at the elbow. TenZ, you're around the corner, get it done. He's moving out, gets the first kill, and you saw it from the movement. Kaplan was trying to run away with the operator that he picked up, but he was still stuck pretty much against the wall, and when he went for that quick scope, it just ricocheted because of movement penalty. One of the big nerfs that happened to the operator at the same time too, just allowed TenZ to just move in and continue with that 3rd kill. That was, like you said, it was who was going to be able to see first, and it was going to be TenZ, and continues with that kill. So well done. Map point here for Cloud9 Blue versus Spacestation Gaming, and you already have control here of Heaven. And a showstopper that connects. Unfortunately, Mitch to fall. That's an open sight into A. And Boostio continues with a 2nd connection. Down at 10 HP, looking for the 3rd, but the information's there. He dies, he knows the last 2 are there. The first trade comes out. Vice makes it a little bit easier. He does have a Rolling Thunder too. But I don't know if he's going to try to use it for the retake, unless he gets a first kill early. But you see how spread out they are now for SSG. They're looking pretty good here to get this round.
A fast play towards A works out really well for Space Station, and it's largely off the back of Boostio, who just takes matters into his own hands and opens things up somewhat single-handedly. It's 12-8. There's still a buy coming in from both teams. But it doesn't feel like Space Station is completely out of it. They need to find 1, maybe 2 more rounds like that to really break C9. And it's certainly going to be tough the way that Cloud9's been playing. We'll see what they've got. There's Mitch with an aggressive turret in B main. I love this play because they use the flash off the back of that as well. There's the lockdown being popped, but it's kind of risky, right? Like, they have to throw it down just because of the fear of what's coming that direction. Rolling Thunder to lead them in. I love this from Mitch. He wants to try and take out the ult, but he's unable to do so. They finally get there to take it out, but look at what it cost them. Almost more than it would have cost them to just let the ult go.
Yeah.
TenZ, meanwhile, from Heaven, skeet shooting currently with the op, and yeah, he's just having fun at this point. He's found 3 kills on the round, and it's down to Kaplan. The knives are out as well. It looks like the writing is on the wall, as it's Kaplan who's trying to make it onto the site. That's just TenZ, doing what TenZ does best. A 4K from the king of Cloud9 as they find themselves with a 13-8 victory in map number 2.
So we are tied 1-1 in this series. One more map to go, which is going to be on Ascent. It could still be any.